welcome back to MD Model Works in association with Pt6. Okay, right, what we're going to do this evening, we're going to do a bit of detailing work. Excuse me 1 second. Right, now for this, I have to use paint that is obviously brushable. Now at Pt6 at the moment we are experimenting with brushable paints, but they're not ready yet, so I have to use other companies, which is fine. And I was lucky enough to be given a set by Alan Kelly at Telford of the primary colours, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to show you what I do. First thing I've done, I've laid a strip of computer tape, Tamiya tape and what have you down, and I'm going to detail some of the stuff up, some of the parts up. Pretty simple to do. Got it on my finger already. So all we're going to do, I say, shake the bottle, put a drop onto our computer tape to act as our palette, and just paint the parts we need to paint. Now, as it's quite a thin paint, this is the Vallejo version, a silver. It does flow around nicely, so you haven't got to be too careful to get everything perfectly as you wish. It will just flow around. I hope you can see this, yeah. And it will flow. Now, in the past I used to use Tamiya, and funny enough my wife used to complain about the smell when I used to airbrush it, but since using Pt6 she don't moan for some reason, unless she likes to get high on the fumes, I don't know. But Tamiya paint, it is okay to brush, but it does, you're better to pull it rather than push it. When I say pull, what I mean is to go away from it. Pulling it like that or pushing it like that. If you push it, it does go a bit better. Personally, I prefer to use either Vallejo or some blue line Hitago, which is ideal for brush painting at the moment, and it suits my needs perfectly. Okay, so that's that part. I just need to check on the colour. Again, a silvery colour. I'll probably get this one wrong and I'll get called up, but hey ho. I'm just going to paint this to begin with in this, just to put a difference to it. And that bit is finished, believe it or not. That's the way that one goes. Right, let's just make sure we've got this covered. Lovely. We'll bring the light over and down just a little bit so you can see a bit better. Right, I have a pot of ibuprofen, which is actually airbrush cleaner, and I'll put that to one side. Brand new mat and got dust on it, I'll get shot. Right, now we're on to our black. Now this is the Hitago. For brush painters, this stuff is fantastic. I have used through an airbrush, and I'll be 100% honest, as I was with Alan, I didn't get on with it. But that's me. It might be okay for other people, but not for me, I'm afraid. And we're coming at the bulkhead again, and we're checking everywhere to see where we have to paint. So I've gone down to a 5-0 brush. These are all sable brushes that I get from the local art shop in Bungay, who give me a nice discount. So I've always got nice brushes. and we're literally looking at what we need to paint. This part just inside that area, we don't really want it on the edge. It will run out, which is lovely. Excuse me, I did miss a piece of XF16, a couple of bits actually, but luckily enough they are a bit smaller, so we'll use the other brush just to get in there and paint it how we wish. Pigments are quite small on the hand brush paints for the Targa, which is quite a good thing. I mean, I do work for Alclad, but I have a daytime job which is actually making true paint. I physically make the paint for Alclad and other companies, which I'm not at liberty to say who, but I do, and I also make it for Her Majesty the Queen, which is nice. And I've made the paint for heritage aircraft like Just Jane, some of the memorial flights. So when it comes to paint, I actually know what I'm talking about, which most people say I never know what I'm talking about, but I like to think I do a little bit. Right, so that's that bit. Just check for our XF18 again. Being quite careful with this airbrush cleaner because it'll take the paint off, or the lines off my mat. Okay, so we'll just rub that away and let's clean that up properly when we're finished. We're going to come back in with our black just to pick a few more bits out. With our 50. As I was saying, the art shop in Bungay, a lovely lady, and she does me a nice discount on my brushes and everything else that I use, which isn't supplied by Alclad 2 or Hans. So like I said, all we're doing is just a little bit of detail work. Dudley's here to help me and talking away to himself, so I'm happy with that. Just rub the black off, get rid of it. We have some gold next, which is a completely different make and what colour to it. It's a Robertson and Co liquid metal that again I always use for hand brushing. It's a fantastic colour. Bit heavier pigment on this one though, and there are two parts to be painted with this. This is number 1, and it's lovely for hand brushing, this paint. Very thick for hair brushing, so stick to your Alclad metals for that. But for a bit of hand work, I find it absolutely perfect. This part, I hope my head's not getting in the way, and we're just drawing the paint around, making sure we're covering everything we need to, just like so, and that's lovely. That looks good to me. Just checking to see what we've got here. What we'll do, that's fine, that's finished. So that's a lovely job. Right, we will, because of the type of paint this is, I will clean this one up again. Just clean the brush up slightly. And we're going to come in with some Hataka, but it's just traffic red. I actually made some traffic red with what we call E-spheres in it, which is non-slip for Silverstone, ready for the MotoGP and the Grand Prix today at work. A little bit different for me. Do like that. Oh, Dudley, stop moaning. Tiny little bit of red. And we have this part, which we've got 2 latches, and these need to be red. Right. Right, so we've got the 2 latches to paint. What we're going to do is just draw the brush along. Capillary action. Because we've glossed this already, will do the job that we want. So all we're doing, say, is just touching and letting the paint do the work. Just like so. This is another job part that'll never ever be seen after today, or when it goes together. It's a bit difficult to actually see this bit, but right. So we'll just draw it across on the top, just like so, and again. And make sure that the latches are all painted. The paint has gone in. I've not really done the job I wanted to do on this side, so we'll just give it a little bit more, and hopefully the camera will just pick that up. It's not easy because the light's not that good at the moment. Right, so that is that, as far as I can see at the moment. Red, silver, gold. Yep, that was it. Right. Okay, so I'll clean my brushes up, give them a quick soapy with brush curd soap, then I'll be back. Okay, so recapping what I've just done. I detailed the bulkhead for the engine area. We have our gear bay done, painted, weathered, ready to go, looking good, happy with that. So taking on board one of the comments I got, I won't show you how to do all that again, but what I've done here on the inside of the lower part of the fuselage is to put the bracketing in, hand paint it, what needed to be hand painted, obviously sprayed up first, got everything ready, and so she's all together, ready to go. I've got the parts, next parts all lined up, ready to rumble, including, do come in Dudley, one of the metal gears, which we'll paint up shortly, or in the next part we'll paint that up. But all I'm going to do is show you how this goes together. And we have our first parts from the Resin WolfPack set, which has got to replace these 2 parts on the inside. So I'll just show you how we're going to do that. Bear with me 2 seconds. Oh, blimey, hit the light. That's not good. One of the main lights. Just take a little bit of kabuta tape. Well, this is actually frog tape, but same difference. And then all we're going to do, we're going to build this up to begin with. I'm actually going to put the wheel on first, simply because we've got some smaller parts to put on here, and we'd be sorry, I'll start again. we've got some smaller parts. We're gonna do the wheel first, and we've got smaller parts to go on this area. So what we're going to put our wheel on first. So all we're going to do is get ourselves set. We've got all our little parts to do it with. We've got our little screwdriver supplied by Tamiya. I've already checked the screw. This is what they call an MB5 screw. I've checked all the lengths and everything that goes with it. So all I'm going to do is get this all ready. It's more like Meccano than a plastic kit. That's what it's all about. Anyway, that places on to the leg, and then that part is just screwed on and into the hole. Excuse me. So that wheel will move. Oop. Just make sure it's not too tight. You want it tight but not over tight. That's fine. I think I'll glue that screwdriver into that at some point. Anyway, that's our wheel on. It moves. It's fine. It'll work lovely. Then we have our cap to go over the top, just like so. And all we do is drop a little bit of tet just around it. We don't want too much going through, and that's it. That's all we do. So that's our wheel on, square, straight, and ready to rumble. We've got our cap on the top, just making sure that that's in place with a pair of tweezers. Yep, lovely. Okay, right, so now it's the next part of the pieces we're going to do, which is, so we're looking at the back and which way up they go. Now it looks like this piece goes downwards. Constantly checking, which is fine. And hold that there. Now, being very careful with our tet, I'm just going to put a little drop over and then work out which way this goes, which is downwards, and that places just on there like so. Now I'm going to add just a little bit more tet onto that because I want a bit better seal, just so that that sits in there and does the job. Does the job it's supposed to do, as he says. Line it up. A bit fiddly, but it's worth the effort. Right. Okay, so that bit is great, and we can then mount this onto our white tack board. He says, if he didn't pull it apart. Bit odd, this bit. There you go. That's in there. Get it right, Mark. For goodness sake. Get our tweezers, just make sure we're in line. And then we can mount that just like so, ready for spraying. Okay, so that's away. Right, our next bit is our intake. Now we've added our air deflector into there. That's already gone in, painted gunship grey without any issues. Now the next part is the intake shroud, which is, and the ones that I've done before has always been a lovely fit. Just checking on everything, making sure it goes together nicely, and again it's a lovely fit. But on this part we bring in our first part of resin from the WolfPack set. Now we're having a look. We've got our instructions, which is D. This part we haven't got to yet. There's loads of separate little resin parts to do, which are no issues, mostly on the external of the aircraft, as this part actually is. But what we're going to do, we're going to put these two, we're going to replace these two parts from the intakes areas. So our first job is to remove the old parts. So all we're going to do is use our side cutters and literally take that away, like so, from that side, and we'll drop them right to the edge again on this side, all the way at the bottom, bend it away from the actual unit and it'll be fine. Just get a bit rougher. Sanding sponge, it's the wrong one, on the blue one. And all we're going to do, sand it all down, just to make sure there's a nice smooth edge. Now the edge across here is perfect, but we want to make sure that the back of it is fine, and I know there's enough room in the back to mess about with. And just clean out the edges, just like so. Same on the other side, just at a slight angle, just to protect the outer area. And again, where we clipped it off. Now, to remove these off the block, I'm going to use my snippers. For the hello, Dudley's back. All I'm going to do is just cut them off close to the edge as we need. Checking on my diagram, and it looks pretty good. So again, we'll cut them off flush. Now, safety warnings. This is resin. It's horrible stuff. Perfect for the modeler, much better detail. But it's nasty stuff. You don't want to be inhaling this. When I do this off camera, I always use a mask. But at this point, obviously, I can't. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of my cloth. Press this on, turn that on, just to take off any edges. I don't want to blow it because I don't want to put it in the air, so I'm just taking those edges off and leveling those up a little bit. And the same with this side. All the dust has gone onto the blitz towel. Good old blitz. Making sure we've got everything. Clean my fingers off. So that's all gone. Now, even though it's a clean bit of towel, this is how much I dislike resin. That's straight in the bin. Now, we need to look at our pieces we're going to do. This is the piece that is showing, and we're going to look to see how it fits. Now, this literally goes in just like so. I just want to make sure and it's a very, very nice fit already, although it's not quite correct as yet. We need to see what we're fiddling with to make it better. No, that's very, very good, and that is ready, I would almost say, to be glued. But I think what I am going to do is get a bit of a rougher there and just rub that down slightly, just to help the fit on that edge. This is just styrene that I'm using at the moment, so I'm not overly worried. And will come as much better. Just for that little tiny piece of sanding, we're in and we're happy. So that one's okay, and we'll leave that there. Right, our next one, we check our fit. And again, just, I know it seems daft, but just want to make sure we're all correct on what we're doing, to be honest with you. This one on here went in almost perfectly. Now I'm losing the plot a bit. Just to have a look to see how it goes. Ah, that goes in there like so. For some reason I couldn't work out how the other side went. Right. Because that's the other way around, isn't it? You film that. Right, so we just need to take the slight edge off that, just to straighten it up. It's just gone against all my rules, but hey ho. And we just slide that in, and again, very, very happy. Okay, right, so with resin we can't use Tamiya extra thin. We have no choice but to use super glue, and my glue of choice is an American Gorilla Glue. Fabulous. So someone's now decided to cut their lawn, so make this short and sweet. In fact, do that. Let's get a cocktail stick, and then all we're going to do is just run a bead of super glue everywhere where it's required, and then slide our part in. There's a small gap at the front there which I can fill with no issues. That's in there, lovely. Quite happy with that bit. This part exactly the same. Small bead of glue at the back, on the front and the back as well, on the sides. Using a cocktail stick, it allows you to get the glue exactly where you want it. So we'll just slide out this one in again, so that she's in the right position. Just hold it. Until she's 100% correct. Just hold that in there for a few seconds. Let the glue bind, just like so, and we're happy with the fit.